How you doing? My name is Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio, and welcome to Tool Time Tuesday. Today I want to talk about the Snap-on rethreading set. So it's not a tap and die set. It's actually a really cool set. It's under $300. The Snap-on tap and die set is like $500-600. This is just to clean up the thread. Once you've messed up the thread a little bit, or a screw went in crooked, or a lot of times we do a lot of these Harley Davidson motorcycles, so somebody else has worked on the bike or the customer himself has worked on the bike, and will actually cross thread the machine screws that hold the fairing together. So instead, if you put, the problem is that those nut inserts are pressed into the plastic of the fairing. So once you cross thread the screw and you try and put pressure on, you put your drill on it, it actually ends up spinning the threaded nut insert inside the fairing, and then it's completely trashed. So then you got to pull it out. Sometimes you could save by putting epoxy on it. So if you feel that you're putting the screw in, or the machine screw in, and it feels a little bit tight, pull it out, use your thread checker. And it's funny because the reason I thought about doing this today is it actually happened to us today. So you take out one of the factory bolts, figure out what the thread is supposed to be. Then you grab a thread checker. You can do it with a tap too, but this set is designed for this, especially if it's on hard to read. We just used it this week on a seatbelt when one of my guys put the seatbelt bolt back in, and halfway through it got really tight, so he backed it off, and it was cross-threaded, so we pulled it out. These are made of really high strength steel, so it's stronger than the bolt, it's stronger than the nut that's in the car. So as long as the thread's not too damaged, you could just use, we use a regular 3/8 drive, sometimes a 1/2-inch drive, ratchet, and just power through, and actually fixes the threads as it goes back through. So we had a Harley that we had the same incident on, so we pulled the bolt out, checked the thread, ran the thread checker through it back and forth a couple of times, and it went in perfect, hand tightened all the way down to the bottom. It's not a sexy tool, but it's a tool that will save you hundreds or thousands of dollars in repairs if you're not paying attention when you're putting the bolt in. Just don't force it, pull the bolt back out, match up the size with the thread checker. This set does metric and standard, goes from 6 mil all the way up to 14 mil. On the standard side, it goes from 1/4 inch up to 9/16. And then for the smaller stuff, we have regular tap and dies that we use. It's a really nice set, comes in a nice case. I want to say it was around $200, $250. It's easy to use, and it will definitely save you. We have a full tap and die set from Snap-on. We'll talk about that later date. I chose to talk about this one because it's a lot more affordable, and it's something more practical, because in this industry, we're not really drilling and tapping holes. Well, we do sometimes, but most of the time, we're just repairing the threads, so it's nice to have both. And if you can only afford one, if you're not fabricating, where you're doing steel and welding and drilling, tapping holes to mount amplifiers to the racks, this is all you need, so it doesn't make sense to spend double or triple the money when you just need something to fix the threads instead of make the threads. So hope this is helpful to somebody. I'll post a link to both of these. This is something we use on a daily basis, so when you pull out a factory bolt, you could check to see what thread it is. That way, if there's an empty hole or empty socket in the car and you want to mount your fuse holder there, so you don't have to drill any holes in the car. We just did a 2020 GMC Sierra. We mounted the train horns themselves to the side rail, and ended up being an empty spot with an M8 bolt. So I used my thread checker, figure out it was an M8. Customer was thrilled. We were able to do the entire setup without drilling holes in his brand new truck. So with this, you can quickly and easily find the size and the thread of the bolt. And then if you have an issue with the thread, use that to clean it up. Simple, useful, helpful. It's a professional way to do things. Hopefully this helps somebody. Thank you. See you next week.